To suffer for Christ is not a consequence. It's a decision. First, Moses, in violence, attempted to gain his people's respect by killing an Egyptian, except the Israelites weren't in need of a murderer. His misconception and fear is what forced him past his selfish decisions. Second, Peter, also a violent man, pledged himself wholeheartedly to Jesus. Christ said, "Oh, Peter, if you only knew your commitment will only last until the rooster cries, you'll readily deny me 3 times. Peter's guilt and conviction is what forced him past his selfish decisions. Third, we have Saul of Tarsus, a violent man. In control, yanked men and women from homes in persecution. But the divine intervention of God shining the bright light in Saul's path, causing falling and impaired vision, is what forced him past his selfish decisions. How far must our fear and misconceptions, guilt and divine interventions go until we get past our selfish decisions? Moses knew liberation is what the Israelites were dying for. Peter knew a sincere commitment is what Jesus Christ was dying for. Saul knew that a holy spiritual vision is what new believers were living and willing to die for. When will we decide to liberate ourselves from the death triggered by momentary commitments, from short-lived decisions that veil our spiritual vision? God knew Moses was fearful. He knew Peter was aggressive. He knew Saul would transform to new Paul, and he knew Paul was bold and pursuant. Yet we still use excuses as if our characters are useless when all we must do is make room in them for God to move in like violent men. If you want an explosion, know that it is not a consequence. It's a decision. A bomb is not created to remain in its shell, to collect dust on a shelf. Man was not created merely from that dust, but with breath filled with soul. Bombs and believers were made to explode. When Moses exploded, a sea split open. When Peter exploded, his passing shadow healed the broken. When Paul exploded, persecution reverted, imprisoned for his new vision, criticized for his passion, beaten for his boldness. But he made a decision, dusted his shoulders, and decided to explode again. People like Moses, Paul, and Peter, people of clouded concepts, guilt, and fear, wind that explosive device inside. Know that Jesus Christ died as a bomb, shook the ground, took the key, and oh, what he would open, set the timer for 3 days, and resurrected as an explosion. If you have a passion for Christ, not merely emotion, believe he defeated death and sin, locked them in the depth of the ocean, then you must know that you have an explosive device inside, with a purpose of passion and drive to spread the news of the gospel and the truth to expose. So believers, like bombs, decide to explode. Believers, like bombs, decide to explode. Believers, like bombs, decide